So we had a liquor manager who was quite independent, running the liquor store next door. And even though the owner's wife was the vice president, like she said, of the liquor store, they decided that I was going to be in charge of the liquor store also. So I would go over daily and go over to things with the liquor store manager, which really, really, really annoyed him. He didn't like to listen to anybody. And we would talk about out of stocks and conditions and the amount of product being brought in and things of that nature. And excuse me, he decided that after a couple of weeks of that, he wasn't going to listen to me anymore, and he decided that I would have to fire him. And that was the only way that he'd, do anything other than I don't know. I don't even understand his reasoning. So he push come to shove one day, he comes over, and I was over there in the liquor store talking to him, and we got into an argument, and he decided to push my button, so I told him to go home. And he goes, the only way I'm going home is if you fire me. So I said, okay, you're fired. So he leaves, and he calls the owner later on that day and sets up a meeting to come back and talk to him and Mrs. Owner. And he decides that he's going to tell them what it's all about, and that I talk about them and make fun of them and everything, and that he shouldn't be fired, that I'm the one that should be fired. And for some reason they decided not to take him back, so I'm assuming that was their plan all along, was to have a personalities clash. But it's pretty funny because the missus, that doesn't like anybody talking about her, sure enough comes right to me and says, he says that you talk about me and Richard all the time. And then I just kind of looked at her and said, well, yeah. I said, I guess I probably do, but I can tell you now, yeah, he was right. I made fun of you guys all the time. I said, how could you not make fun of a guy that just sits and stares at you during the meeting, barely says 2 words the whole time that you're sitting there having a conversation, constantly answering the phone when you're calling, and did you yell at him yet? Did you yell at him yet? Don't let him get away with it. Did you get rid of him yet? That was one of the better highlights of the time that I was there, is just seeing you being so concerned about how people talk about you. So yes, he was right. I did talk about you, and I did make fun of you.